While many people disbelieve in Noah's flood, we actually do have scientific evidence that suggests that it did in fact take place. And in this video, I'm going to give you 3 pieces of evidence that support the biblical flood of Noah and the fact that it was a worldwide catastrophe. The first piece of evidence is rock arches. These structures are constantly being broken down by the force of gravity pulling on them. And at Arches National Park in Utah, there are over 2,000 of these rock arches that are still intact. And between 1977 and 2015, 43 of those rock arches have collapsed. And so if you have a desert environment that has rock arches still intact, still standing, despite the fact that they are falling down over time, this means that they could not have been standing for millions of years, and they must have been carved out by a flood in the recent history of the Earth. Check out this one. You can see that it is just hanging by a thread. I mean, it probably won't even be 100 or 200 more years before that thing has fallen down. Again, because of the force of gravity. These rocks could not have remained the way that they are positioned for deep time. The Bible says, "And the waters prevailed exceedingly upon the earth, and all the high hills that were under the whole heaven were covered." The second piece of evidence that I'd like to cover today is the fact that we find balancing rocks that are in awkward positions that could not have been sitting there for millions of years. Here's a photo of what they call Big Balanced Rock near Heart of Rocks Loop in Arizona. And if you notice at the bottom of the rock, it's hanging by a thread. It doesn't have much time before it's going to break down. That thing is going to topple over at some point. The base of the rock is going to crumble, and that structure will no longer be standing. So again, you need to ask, is it plausible to assume that the Earth is millions or even billions of years old, and that these structures, these rocks, have just been standing in awkwardly placed positions for deep time? Look at the base of the rock on this photo. It is impossible for this to have been standing for even 10,000 years. If you believe that the Earth is billions of years old, I'd like to ask you one simple question. Is it plausible to assume that a rock, like the one I'm going to picture here, could stand for millions of years, or even just 1 million years? Is that really plausible, logical, or reasonable to make such an assumption as that? If you've made it this far into the video, would you mind hitting the like button for me? What it will do is it will help reach a wider audience with this information. And a lot of people in the public school system have been indoctrinated to think that the universe is billions of years old and that the Bible isn't true. And so what I'm trying to do is help those people. And so if you could do that for me, I would truly appreciate it. The third piece of evidence that I'd also like to mention in this video is the fact that we find these structures called hoodoos. And what they are is rock spires that most of the time have very little debris at the bottom of them. And that is significant because if these structures have been standing for millions of years and the force of gravity has been pulling the rocks down from the top of them, you would expect to find debris at the bottom of these rock spires. But we find very little debris at the bottom of them, and what that indicates is that they must have been formed in the recent past through flooding, and they haven't been there in this position for very long. Because again, if they had been standing for millions of years, you would expect to find debris at the bottom of them. If you look at this photo from Bryce Canyon, you can see at the bottom it's just pretty much sand there at the base of these hoodoos. Where is all the debris? I'd truly like to know. If the Earth was billions of years old, or if these rock spires have been standing for tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of years, then we should be able to find boatloads of debris at the bottom of them, and they wouldn't even really be standing. There wouldn't even be anything left if 1 million years of time passed by. Because these are desert environments where things are dry and crusty and breaking down and wearing out. And the force of gravity, once again, is just destroying things. It's eroding things flat. How is it possible that these structures are standing today? Unless there was a global flood that happened in the recent past and formed these things within a few thousand years ago. Because otherwise, they wouldn't be there. I hope you guys are following my train of thought here. I'm trying to make this as clear as I can for the skeptics and the critics, and I'm curious to see how they would actually respond to this evidence.